In this video, what we're going to do is work through some problems with some applied ratios, meaning things that you may encounter in the real world or, things that deal with real world situations. So the first problem says that last week, the ratio of time Sarah spent studying to the time she spent watching TV was 2 to 3 hours. If she spent 30 total hours studying and watching TV, how many separate hours were spent studying and watching TV? So this table asks us to give the whole time she spent studying, the entire time she spent watching TV, and the entire time combined, which is given up here. So we can go ahead and write that this was 30 hours. 30 hours she spent watching TV and studying. So the other part of the table wants us to write the ratio and the total time that the ratio gives. So we can see up here that the ratio is 2 to 3. So she spent 2 hours studying, 3 hours watching TV. And the table also wants us to give the total time of the ratio, which we can see is 5 because the ratio says that she spends 2 hours studying and 3 hours watching TV, which is 5 hours in total. So we can go ahead and write 5 down. And to get from the individual ratio to the time total she spent doing each activity, we can see that we need to multiply each of these by 6 because 5 times 6 gets you to 30. 5 times 6 gets you to 30. And so we multiply 3 by 6, which will give you 18. And we multiply 2 by 6, which will get you 12. And this checks out because 12 plus 18 is 30. So that gives us the total time that she spent studying and watching TV. Now we can move on to the next problem. This double number line shows the ratio of yards to miles. So we can go ahead and write down the ratio yards to miles. We have 5,280 to 3. And the question is asking us how many yards are in 5 miles. Now, to solve this problem, I think we need to start by finding the unit ratio, or just simplifying this as much as we can. So we can test if this number is divisible by 3 or not very quick. See, 3 into 5,280. That 3 goes into 5 one time. Subtract that. 2. Drop down this 2. 3 goes into 22 7 times. 7 times. We can subtract, multiply 7 by 3, we get 21. 1, drop down this 8. 3 goes into 18 6 times. 3 times 6 is 18. Subtract that. We get 0. We can drop down this other 0 here. And 3 goes into 0 times. So the ratio of 1 mile to yards is 1,760 yards to 1 mile. Now the question is asking us to find 5 miles, so we can multiply this by 5. And that means we have to multiply the other part of the ratio by 5 as well. Times 5. We can do that. 1,760 times 5. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 6 is 30. 5 times 7 is 35, plus the 3 is 38. And 5 times 1 is 5, plus the 3 is also 8. So there are 8,800 yards in 5 miles. So we can go ahead and write that. 8,800 yards. So let's move on to our final problem. James bought a pound of confetti for $12. So we can go ahead and write this ratio out. So 1 pound for $12. For $12. And the question is asking us, what is the price in dollars per ounce of confetti? And the question tells us that there are 16 ounces in a pound. So we can go ahead and rewrite this as, we can go ahead and rewrite that as 16 ounces because there are 16 ounces in 1 pound. 16. Just a second. There are 16 ounces in a pound. And this stays the same because these two values are equal, $12. Remember, the question is asking us, what is the price in dollars per ounce of confetti? So we want to get ounces down to just 1 ounce so we can know the price per a singular ounce. So we can divide this by 16. Divide this by 16. And that'll give us 1 ounce. We have to do one side of the ratio, we have to do the other, so we can divide 12 by 16. We can rewrite this as a fraction, because all fraction means is division by the denominator. So 12 divided by 16, we can find something that these share, a factor that they share in common. And 12 and 16 are both divisible by 4, so we can divide both the numerators and denominators by 4. Divided by 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3. 16 divided by 4 is 4. And 3/4 is equivalent to 0.75. And remember, we're talking in money here because we're looking for the price. So it is $0.75. And we are done.